There we go. Okay. There's always a lag over on Instagram to go live simultaneously. So here we go. So today I thought it would be really interesting to talk about Trump's recent executive order. I don't know when this was. It was like just recently, yesterday, maybe, that he issued this. Yeah, the 29th. It was just yesterday. It's called Expanding Educational Freedom and Opportunity for Families. Expanding educational freedom and opportunities for family. So because it's expanding freedom, you would say that means less government, right? But wait, that's not what it means. So then we have a little bit of a conundrum based on sort of the things that we already know from history. So I just figured we're just going to like talk about it. Luckily, and really, I'm grateful that many of these executive orders that are being issued are super simple, which is good, but it's also bad because they're not like terribly specific. They're sort of directives and ideas, but there's no implementation. There's just sort of these ideas like let's try to do more stuff like this. Bring me a plan, a lot of them. So this one starts out with the purpose, which I really appreciate. And here's the thing, I'm not here to criticize Trump. I think that he's trying to do the very best that he can. I would like to offer some ideas because more ideas gives us a better opportunity to hone and refine our best practices. So the purpose, it states that it acknowledges parents want and deserve the best education for their children, but too many children do not thrive in their assigned government-run K through 12 schools. Truth, absolutely. In fact, it goes further and it says that according to this year's National Assessment of Educational Progress, the NAEP, 70% of eighth graders were below proficient in reading, and 72% were below proficient in math. That is that's an amazing statistic, especially when you start to understand that proficiency has been downgraded. So proficient today is not the proficiency of 100 years ago. No. Proficiency today is you can basically be marginally stupid and still claim to be proficient and you'd still pass the test. Like, I'm just saying, their statistics, these are so damning. But by all means, let's go back to these people to fix the problem. And then they're talking geographically based school assignments exacerbate the cost, which I think is probably poor grammar. But basically they're saying that schools will raise housing prices and cause all kinds of sort of upheaval in markets that it doesn't need to. So what they want to do is they want to allow choice for parents to choose the better schools because the parents are better equipped at choosing the schools, which I totally agree with. And of course, the sticking point is that the government's going to fund it. So we'll get to that part. But this is sort of, they set out sort of, here are the problems that we're trying to address with this, which I think is admirable. And then they set out a policy. We're here to support parents. We want them to have choices. And then they're going to issue guidance and encouragement. So within 60 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Education, who has not yet been confirmed, as far as I know. I haven't heard that. I think her hearing's on the 4th of February. So they're saying they want her to, assuming that it's Linda McMahon, issue guidance regarding how states can use federal formula funds to support K through 12 educational choice initiatives. Because up till now, the choice initiatives are state run. So they're state funded. That's partly why, even though each child costs $15,000 or $16,000, the parents are only getting $8,000. So now the federal government is saying, but you know what? Let's give the parents some federal money too. Oh my gosh, I really quiver. just saying it. I was like, ugh, this is so bad. I'm just checking messages here. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody appreciates my good opinions. So thank you for that. All right. We've not been trained to read between the lines, and that's where all the context is. So while this is meaning well, it's going to be more money from the government to the people, which is socialism. It's redistribution of wealth. That's ultimately what this is. And of course, school itself is a socialist proposition. Take money from everybody, but funnel it to the children. In other words, to their parents, to those families that have children. And everybody is therefore responsible for the children. And you can make that argument very palatable to even conservatives. And that's the sticking point. Okay. Then on section 4, encouraging education freedom through discretionary grant programs. So they want the Secretary of Education to include this as a priority in discretionary grant programs. Of course, everything is, consistent with the law, whatever. They want the secretary to review the respective discretionary grant programs and submit a plan. By the way, this is also, they're now involving the Secretary of Labor. They want a plan from the Secretary of Labor also to submit to make recommendations regarding using the relevant discretionary grant programs to expand education freedom for America's families and teachers. What this sounds like to me is they're taking whatever money is available and they are prioritizing sending that money back to families who have children to put through school. And man, it just sounds really attractive, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like that's got to be a good thing? It sounds so good. And yet when you think it's government money coming into families, you have to recognize that's a horrible thing. It's a horrible idea, I think, when it comes down to it. Then they have expanding opportunities for low-income working families. So they want, now these are the families who actually need, not that all families don't need money, everybody needs money. But if anybody, could sort of lay claim to, hey, we need to be helped out, their schools are abysmal and there's not much hope for them. And so the problem is sending them money is not really going to improve very much. Of course, they'll have choice, but where are they going to go? They also have for military families and for Bureau of Indian Education schools as well. And then they have the general provisions that this is not meant to break any laws and, or do anything it's not supposed to, kind of thing. So basically it's Trump saying, let's free the funds to send to the families so that they can use it for the education of their children. And that is sort of the most generalized school choice program out there. And it is a struggle because the money always comes with strings attached. And the strings that are attached are, you're going to have to, they're probably going to put in some sort of means testing now. How much money do you make in a year? Not that they don't already have all this information, but where exactly did you want your child to go to school? And why do you need money for bus fare for the child to go to school? And just all the other questions. And you're going to have the government all up in your business. And it's not going to, here's the problem. It's not really going to solve the academic crisis that we have in our schools, because if schools knew how to solve the academic crisis, don't you think they would have done it already? The only thing that this might do to help marginally is that because parents are investing funds that don't belong to them, but because the money's going through their hands, sort of. They might be a little bit more invested in their children, and that might improve academic outcomes, because that is the number one predictor of positive academic outcomes or success for students, is parental involvement. But because the money doesn't actually belong to the parents, the struggle is they won't care. They'll just be like, well, thank goodness the government's writing a check, and so I can just send that to XYZ school and little Billy will be educated. He'll be taken care of. They're just going to teach him because that school's so much better than this other school. Okay. I'll talk for a minute about why I have such a problem. I've talked to too many people who have been injured in school, by school, to stick my head in the sand and pretend that school is the answer. School, unfortunately, is just not the answer for so many children, so many of us. Now, there are a lot of people who are super successful who overcame the tremendous obstacle that school posed for them. And they wouldn't be where they are today, maybe, if they didn't have that obstacle. So school as an obstacle can be a very positive thing. But I don't think anybody's advocating for that. I don't think anybody thinks, well, the great thing about school is when you get bullied, you get stronger. Like, I hope nobody's advocating that way. Okay, I want to go over, Emily Miller has emailed a couple of times, or has posted a couple of times on YouTube, where this is also being live broadcast. And she started by saying John D. Rockefeller didn't start trying to turn education into a factory to produce compliant workers like the WEF and the Fourth Industrial Revolution are doing now, until 1890, long after Horace Mann. Well, if it was after Horace Mann, why does it matter? So Horace Mann spoke into that. Why would, like, also their aims for educating the public appear to be polar opposites. According to Britannica, Horace Mann's aims for education, his message centered on 6 fundamental propositions. So let's go over that for just a minute. That a republic cannot long remain ignorant and free, hence the necessity of universal popular education. Okay, so that is, that is sort of the conundrum. It's like statement 1 necessarily predicts the second part of the statement, and I say maybe not. In other words, a republic cannot long remain ignorant and free. True. And then it says, hence the necessity. I disagree with the necessity, okay, of a universal popular education. I disagree with that. Like, you're stating a premise and then you're making a conclusion that's not supported by the premise. That such education must be paid for, controlled, and sustained by an interested public. Also, I disagree with that. I get the premise. We are on board with the premise, but your solutions lack clarity and any substantiation. And in fact, Exhibit A, here we are. Okay, finally, now maybe he believed this and he was so wrong, and I'm sorry for him that he was so wrong. Don't worry about the shadows passing behind me. Okay, let's see. That such education is best provided in schools embracing children of all religious, social, and ethnic backgrounds. Also, disagree with the premise. Not the premise, the solution. Disagree with the solution. Finally, 4, that such education, while profoundly moral in character, must be free of sectarian religious influence. Disagree. And you're just going to have to come out and prove it. Okay, they're having a meeting behind me in my backyard. Sorry. Okay, and then number 5, there were 6, so here's 5. That such education must be permeated throughout by the spirit, methods, and discipline of a free society, which preclude harsh pedagogy in the classroom. Well, okay, we did away with that. So whether that was his contention or not, it is no longer the case. And this is where we are today. So, you might be a Horace Mann proponent, and that's fine. I'm not, because what he wanted was bad. Whether he intended it for good or not, I don't care. I'm looking at outcomes. Does that make sense? Let's see. Finally, that such education can be provided only by well-trained professional teachers. Also, dead wrong. Dead wrong. And so if we take that and we say, he only meant well, and he only spoke what he believed to be the absolute truth, then I would say, well, he was an idiot. He was maybe a well-meaning idiot, but the things that he said were not true. He said them with extreme, surety, and he was wrong. And I don't know where he got his ideas. I don't really care. But he was just wrong. So thank you, Horace Mann, for being wrong and getting us where we are today, where literally all the ideas, at least these 6 ideas, have been proven to be dead wrong. And the problem that we face in our culture today is we're not willing to admit it to ourselves because we've invested so much. It's called sunken cost fallacy. Is that, well, we've spent so much already, there must be a way to fix it. There must be a way to repair it. It was supposed to work. It should have worked. It's what they did with the, never mind, I won't go there. You know what I'm talking about. Also, Horace Mann, jails and prisons are the complement of schools. Also, Horace Mann. Oh, shoot, am I taking that out of context? Maybe he didn't mean it like it sounds. Also, Horace Mann, we go by the major vote, and if the majority are insane, then the sane must go to the hospital. Also, Horace Mann, am I taking that one out of context? And so, she actually wrote back again, because I guess this is a real stickler point for her. She's maybe super pro Horace Mann, I'm not really sure, and I can't tell you why. But she gave me another couple of quotes of Horace Mann. And then there was a quote about Horace Mann: the Mann contribution, state government sponsored education, unfettered, so-called, by sectarian control, made possible a democratic society rather than a government by elites. Really? Really? Let's take a look at the videotape, shall we? I'm sorry. You can't send me this stuff and then expect me not to completely destroy it. It's, sorry, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'll go back to comments briefly. People are joining and that's lovely, but there are no comments. I love it. Okay, well, I can't answer your comments if you don't make any that I can answer. So I guess that's going to do it for me for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It is, what is it? I guess it's the 5th day. I guess school choice week started on Sunday. And today's Thursday, so that would be the 5th day. We have 2 more days, but I think I'm probably going to do one more live stream tomorrow. Incidentally, my op-ed launched today at the Washington Times. So go to Washington Times, or maybe it's thewashingtontimes.com or something like that, and search up Sorbo, or go to their opinion page. It's on the front page. It's right there. And have a read. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please share it with your friends, especially those people out there who are proponents of school choice. I got to start putting air quotes on it, because just because they name it school choice doesn't mean it's actually going to be school choice. I think that's really the foundational issue that I have, is it's going to be single payer schooling, single payer schooling. And by the way, tomorrow, if you'll go over to the Washington Times, I have another op-ed that's coming out tomorrow. I'm very excited about a similar subject, a different approach to it. So have a look at that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mwah. And if you're catching this on repeat, same goes for you. And subscribe and like, please. And also remember, speak truth, speak it boldly. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.